Hi, welcome back. In this class, we'll see some examples in how to read a file and how to write to a file and all that. Let us start with a simple example to read a file and write it to a console. First, we have to open the file. We use a open function. It's a Python function, open function, and to that first we have to pass the file name and the file mode. I'll say test. This is my path where my test files are there. My file dot text. This is my sample file and comma and the mode. This we just want to read the file, and when we call this function, it will return a file object. Let us call it as fp file object. And using this file object, this file object, this one is a iterable object, and we can use a for loop with this. We can say for we can say line in file object. Let us print each line. I'll say line, and I'll put that end constructor. And finally, let us close the file. How to close? pfp dot close file object. We are using the methods, two methods here. We are using one method on the file object, that is a close, and this is a Python function to open a file. And here we are passing the path to the file from the current directory. And let us see what we get if we execute this one. Okay, this is the contents of the file. We have about 10 lines, and we're just printing it and then closing the file. So this is how to read a file and write it to the console. Let us improve this program. Let us say we want to add the line numbers to the output. I have a program here. I will just copy this one so that we can save some time. All right, here is the one. Here first we're opening the file the same as we did before, and then we're using the for loop to print print out all the lines. And before that, I created a variable n equal to 0, and when I'm looping through the for loop, I'm just incrementing it. I'm printing that n here, and then finally I'm just printing the number of lines read and all that. If I execute this one, this is the output we get. We get all the line numbers 1 to 10, and then we get finally says read 10 lines. Okay, that is how we can loop with the file object. Because the file object is an iterable object, we can loop. It's like a container. We can loop through that object, and that's what we did here. Then let us see one more example to read from a file and write to another file. Okay, here is I will just copy and paste it here. Just paste it here. Okay, here I am opening two files. One is for reading, and the other one is to write to the file. All right, I created two file objects, I file and O file. I file is input file and O file is the output file. And then I'm doing a for loop. I'm iterating on the I file, and I'm writing to the output. This is how we can write. We can use a print, and here we are using. We don't need Uh, Here, this is the contents of the line, and then we are specifying write it to the file, and we are giving the file object o file, and then this is just an end. Okay, if I execute this one, okay, this is done. And if you want to see, I mean, the file has, here we are writing to a file, and this file is in this directory test files, and the new file is the my file 2.txt. Let us, if you want to see anything on the operating system, you can do in these notebooks, you can say bang and say, I can say ls minus l, and I'll give the file directory my files. If I execute this one, I get this one. See here, this is the file created. Oh, it's I didn't write to the file. Let me see what it is. Let us execute this one again. And if I execute this one again, see, now it's the return. So my file 2.txt. Today is the September 29th, and this is the file we have, my file 2.txt. So same number of bytes as my file. We read this file, my file.txt, and we wrote it to a different file, my file 2.txt. Actually, let me show it on my terminal. Here is the directory where I am writing to. If you see pwd, it says it's under the test files, and this is the file we wrote. Okay, the same number of bytes as this one. Okay. Okay, we'll stop here, and in the next class we'll go through some more examples. Okay, thanks.